Let's take a closer look at this with our experts now. Diane Swonk, chief economist and managing director at Grant Thornton, and ABC News business correspondent Deirdre Bolton. Welcome to you both. And Diane, I want to start with you. I understand how all these factors came together in the supply chain, but isn't this something we should have seen coming?
You know, it's really hard. There's no roadmap for opening up a global economy all at once. And it was much easier to turn the lights out on the economy, the global economy, than ramp up factories and turn things back on. We had a demand surge, and then we had all these glitches that got exacerbated by the pandemic itself. And people keep forgetting that we're still in a global pandemic. Delta was a game changer and added to all these problems that we're seeing globally in terms of delaying the shipments and idling plants in places that had escaped earlier waves.
It really was an extraordinary scene out there, Deirdre, and I know a lot of the blame is on the pandemic, but when you have that glut of ships, you said it's a lot like what happened with the auto industry.
It certainly is, and it speaks to this fact that it really was a perfect storm, because even the auto industry business leaders, they thought we were going into a recession. No one's going to want to buy cars. What happened? Everyone wanted a car. People who lived in cities became nervous about being on public transportation. A lot of people moved out of cities. So the demand for cars went through the roof. I actually went to car dealerships where normally you were sort of 3 cars per line. There was 1 car and really almost a third of the inventory. So it just showed you, once the business leaders decided, okay, we're going to tell these chip makers we don't need the chips, those chips went into other products, and it just kicked off this domino effect that we've seen in so many industries.
And the White House attempted this week to solve all this, and one of the things they want to do is that 24/7. Frankly, some of those ports already are working 24/7. So what can the federal government really do now?
You know, there's a really great op-ed by Chad Bown from the Peterson Institute and Neil Irwin in the New York Times, and it really lays out that any kind of supply chain issues, even if you declare them defense issues, the security issues, you can't just nationalize them. You need to coordinate with other countries, with our allies, and it will cost more to do that, but if you really want to ensure it, we really need to think much more holistically and coordinate, and that's not something we've been so good about in recent years.
Or that you can do quickly, for sure.
Exactly.
The toy store owner at the end of that piece, Deirdre, said, don't panic buy, but make sure you get things. Is this going to start panic buying?
I do think we've seen some panic buying, even what we just alluded to with the cars. It's already happened. I mean, with tons of other products. But of course, as we're nearing the holiday season, yes, I do think most experts say if you see something that you want, just buy it now, because there are really no guarantees it will be there, let's say 3 or 4 weeks from now, or that it will be available 3 or 4 weeks at the same price. I mean, I think inflation...
So holiday shopping could be in trouble.
Absolutely.
It certainly could be. And I think what's clear is for most goods, we can all assume we will pay at least 10% more for most items.
And Diane, we saw the problems at the ports with truckers, and there really is a lack of workers.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
Yeah, it's like we went through the looking glass. We have labor shortages with millions of workers still not back in their jobs. But there's many reasons. Everything from childcare, which we know is hurdles to women returning to work, and the fact that schools go back into quarantine. But also, many people delayed and deferred their educational attainment. Sadly, many people dropped out of high school and kindergarten through 12. In addition to not being able to finish their degrees, also retirement surged, and there's been this huge reset. Over half of all workers are sort of saying, I'm not sure I want to work the way I did and in the same place I did, which has soared in terms of quit rates. So we really are in this alternative universe that is not going to dissipate anytime soon.
And Deirdre, we've got these labor disputes with places like Kellogg, John Deere. Workers seem to be sensing they're in a pretty strong position.
They are in a pretty strong position. What I find is interesting is that organized labor is at the lowest that it's ever been in the United States, but yet public sentiment is very much with these workers. And you just alluded to some of the companies. I mean, it's really across numerous industries. And I think there is this idea, there's one interesting stat. There are more than 700 billionaires in the U.S. with a collective net worth of $4.7 trillion. That is more than double what the lower 50% net worth of Americans is. So it just, this idea of income inequality, I think public opinion is very much shifting towards the worker. It's kind of what Diane says. I mean, economists in the government, we're amazing at counting the number of jobs. We are a ton less amazing at counting the quality of jobs. And that's what these workers are talking about. That's what a lot of people are feeling, even in professional and businesses services. Hey, my life changed a lot over the past 2 years. I don't know if I want to keep working like I was.
And Diane, I just want to end with inflation and what we're looking at here. The shortage of goods seems to be driving up prices. Will this hang around for a long time?
You know, my concern is that, yes, inflation will abate as we resolve some of these supply chain problems, but it's not going to abate enough to be insignificant. We've got shelter costs accelerating. That's a third of the CPI. And that's going to happen right into 2022. And it's going to put the Federal Reserve and policymakers in a very difficult position where inflation remains elevated and noticeable enough and a problem for many workers at the same time that you don't know if it's going to resolve itself in 2023. You don't want to snuff out demand and make things worse for these workers down the road, but it is going to be a very tough call going forward.
Okay, thanks very much to both of you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.